Get ready to feel
the power.
That's Colin, Crandall, myself, Adam Roorda over here. We're so glad to be here on this wonderful Tuesday evening. We're coming at you every single week at 6 p.m. A little bit late today because of traffic and because of just high anxiety for myself. But we've got two amazing guests coming on our show tonight, Colin. And I think we're really we got 2 minutes here. So we jumped in just in time to let you introduce.
Yes, made it by that much. We're very excited, and I appreciate all the great work Dr. Adam Roorda does here, and we're ready to kill it for another great show tonight. Feel free to jump in, tell a friend, and get ready to enjoy the fastest 2 hours in mixed martial arts. So we are probably ready to do a Skype dance, if I'm not mistaken.
Killing anxiety here, boys and girls. Make sure to check out Tommy Chong's Cannabis in every state.
Yes.
And if you really want the best vape around, head on over to Oklahoma. It is medicinal there. If you have anxiety like myself, Tommy Chong's product is the best. It has live terps in it, meaning it's really close to resin, and it's probably the best product on the market for sure. All right, Colin, yeah, we're ready to pull them in here. So.
Yeah, do you remember that movie High Anxiety with Woody Allen? That was a classic, I think. We gotta revisit that to get rid of our anxiety. But I think life provides anxiety, and
I mean, life is life, right?
It is. It's we're living in challenging and strange times, and I guess we all got to be really grateful for what we have, because we could soon have less if we're not.
Right. Well, and one big thing about MMA Power Hour, anybody's ever feeling down in a slump, anything, Colin and I are both always willing to listen and be there. That is something that we both really stand behind. We have for a long time, and we're here with open arms. But hey, if you're on Fight TV, make sure to head on over to the Hannibal TV on Facebook, also on Twitch, and over on Twitter and Facebook. You can also check us out at MMA Power Hour.
Yes, absolutely. Hannibal TV, rocking it on Facebook and YouTube, and then Fight, rocking it on Fight.
It's FITE.tv.
That's it. Are you ready? Are you ready? Fight. There you go. That was, I think that's John McCarthy's line, wasn't it?
All right. Well, we're going into our Skype dance here.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, hey, I'm about to do an interview quick, so I'm gonna have to wait till I finish, okay?
Hey, Raufeon.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, my friend. Hey, sorry to interrupt you, man. You have to finish off there with your kid, or are you wrapped up?
No, I'm wrapped up pretty much. I mean, he's gonna be just here.
That's cool. That's cool. Hey, we appreciate you. Let me give you a proper introduction since we are already live. Ladies and gentlemen, super excited to have this next guest back on the show, coming off an amazing victory in a fight that he was the underdog for some reason. We don't know why, but came through. As always, we're talking about the man they call Super, Raufeon Stots. Welcome back to the show, Raufeon.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate being back.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. We're glad to have you. So let me tell you, going into that fight, I was looking at his record and I was looking at your record, and I was scratching my head saying, why are they making this Russian guy such a big favorite over Raufeon Stots? And I called a couple friends of mine who know sports betting and handicapping, and they said they don't have any idea either. They don't know what the odds makers were looking at, except for maybe they were thinking that every Russian fighter now is like Khabib Nurmagomedov or something. But
I think that's like a part of it. For me, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking part of it is like Russia is so hot. Like Russia is like the place to be if you're doing MMA.
Yep.
And then also, I think because he had a win over the former champion Peter Yan,
right?
Which many people regard to being like he should still be the champion. I think those two things, is what made him a favorite over me. You know, and I just didn't buy into it.
No, I think you're right. I think they really did probably base it off of that. But yeah, man, you were focused. Your record is amazing. You knew what you were doing. So please tell us how that fight played out as opposed to what you were expecting? What was the same? What was different? And how did you feel overall about your performance?
So I knew he was going to come out, and I knew he was decent at striking, but he was great at wrestling and great at grappling. So I knew he was going to come out and try to grapple me. I also figured that he believed that he was better than me, just from encounters we had, you know, and talking to him back and forth on Instagram and Twitter and things. He didn't believe I belonged in the same cage as him. So I knew those things, and I knew what I needed to stop. What surprised me about him was his top pressure when he got on top. I didn't think, you know, most times most people they're either like super high or super low, and he did a good job of playing that middle ground, so I couldn't really decipher where I wanted to go right away. But other than that, everything was pretty much how I envisioned it. You know, I knew he was going to try to take me down. I knew when he got me down, he was going to, you know, try to keep me there and not really do a lot. And I feel like I addressed those issues really well.
Absolutely. Now, do you feel being in there with him and seeing him breathing, seeing his face, seeing his expressions and like that, do you feel that he was as confident throughout, or do you think at some point he was starting to get frustrated?
No, after that first takedown, so he tried to take me down in the first, and after I like pretty much shoved him and like bullied him into the cage, there was a look on his face like, who the fuck is this guy? Oh,
Right. Yep.
Who is this dude? You know?
Right. And so, you know? It's just like, so even though he didn't surprise you, it looks like you kind of surprised him.
Yeah, exactly. And I figured that because I figured he thought, you know, I didn't deserve to be in there with him, you know, and he was a much better fighter than I was. So for me to do that, you know, and that's why, you know, I was talking back and forth with him, because like I noticed like, oh yeah, okay, now you respect me now, and you didn't expect to respect me before the fight. So that's when I knew, I'm like, oh yeah, I got this guy.
Nice. Now, was there any point in the fight that that he hurt you, or that you feel you hurt him?
I thought I hurt him in the second, when after he threw a spinning elbow, and he hit me flush with the spinning elbow, but I threw a right hand right afterwards, and he dropped, and I thought, you know, for a second that, you know, it was over, but he came right back up to a takedown or try to take me down, so he wasn't out. The other time is when I had him in the rear naked, and when I almost finished the rear naked. You know, I thought for sure I would have had him out of the fight. I heard him like gurgling. You know, I had the choke in deep under his neck. I just couldn't connect my second hand. He did a good job of controlling my second hand, and it was like I could envision the finish happening, because I heard like the crowd screaming, USA, USA. Yep. And I was like, oh man, this is like the perfect moment.
Yep.
This is a perfect moment. Like, I'm going to get this finished. But, you know, he did a good job of fighting out.
Without a doubt. Those Russian guys hate to tap out.
Yeah, he was prepared. Yeah. He was prepared to die, because I heard him gurgling. Like, I was thinking like, yeah, I got to put this guy out, because he is not giving this up. You know, I had it was pretty sunk in with the one arm. If I would have had my second arm, I would have been able to put him out. But yeah, he was prepared.
Yep, without a doubt. So overall, even though we know that you were better than he thought you would be, and you were better than odds makers thought you would be, how good was he compared to what you thought? Was he just as good as what you thought, and then you did what you knew you were going to do, or was he not quite as good as you had expected?
I created more of a boogeyman than I needed to create, but I feel like I do that for all my fights.
Right.
Because I feel like when I lose, the only time I lost is when I underestimated people.
Right.
I underestimated one guy, and I came out too nonchalant, and I paid the price for it. So I'm always gonna create a bigger boogeyman than probably what reality is, but you know, that's just what I got to do for my mindset in fighting. Right,
absolutely. Like I remember I was at the UFC, the McGregor and Poirier card. I remember Gilbert Burns beating Wonder Boy, and he mentioned a guy in Bellator. What's it? Do you know that guy they trained with, Raymond Daniels or something?
Yep, Raymond Daniels. Yeah.
And he said that in all honesty, no disrespect to Wonder Boy, but he said Raymond Daniels was like faster and stronger than Wonder Boy, right? Would you agree that's possibly true?
I would agree that's possible.
Yeah.
Raymond Daniels is one of the, like, I mean, as known as one of the most electrifying, like, karate specialists. You know, he has definitely the more, flashy, faster style of fighting.
Yeah, and Burns mentioned that since he was there and one other guy, that they were actually putting more pressure on him than Wonder Boy did, and so it turned out that it was like, it was the best situation because he was ready if Wonder Boy had been way stronger and faster than he was, but then when he turned out not to be, then it was great. So like you said, it's always better, like you do, create the worst boogeyman in terms of who you think your opponent's going to be.
It's like they say, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
100%. Cardio wise, how did you feel about your cardio? And excuse me, sorry. And then tell me what number grade from 1 to 10 you give your performance.
My cardio, I feel like was really good. After I almost got the after I almost finished in the rear naked, I kind of burned my arms out. So my arms kind of were dead at the end of the third round, but they came back, within like 30 seconds or so. Other than that, like my cardio, I could have won another 2 or 3 rounds. I felt very comfortable. I didn't feel like nerves got me. So I give my performance around probably a 9.
Sounds good. Yeah, it looked really good to me. Who was the main event on that card? I'm sorry that I forgot.
Yeah, it was Mousasi versus John Salter.
That's right, and Mousasi won that fight, right?
Yes, sir. Third round TKO, I think.
That makes sense, and that was a good fight. Salter's a tough guy. So let's talk about the bantamweight division, man, because this was really one hell of an opponent that you got by. And your name, all of a sudden, I shouldn't say all of a sudden, because I'm sure your name with your record was in people's heads before, but now it's really in the forefront of people's minds. Who is the champion at bantamweight, and who else is in front of you, if anyone?
Yeah, so the champion is my teammate Sergio Pettis. And then before me at this moment, before rankings come out or updated rankings come out, right now there is Juan Archuleta, Patchy Mix, then the guy that I beat.
Right, and now Darian Caldwell, I heard, was coming back down, but has that happened yet?
Yeah, he came back down, I think, and he lost. I think he's like ranked number 10 or something.
Okay, all right. So but you got Juan Archuleta and you got Patchy Mix, and then you got your teammate Sergio. So as far as you're aware, do you think they're going to probably try to put you against Juan or Patchy, or do you think there may be a chance they're going to try to take you right to a Pettis match?
Yeah, after that fight, like me and him were pretty much the boogeymans of the division. Like nobody. Even I've been offered to fight Patchy Mix twice, and Patchy Mix has declined 2 times. I've called him out multiple times. He is not interested in fighting me.
Right.
Juan Archuleta, I'm more than welcome to fight him, but I don't feel like he poses like a threat to me. He just lost to Sergio Pettis, and I kind of got him figured out already. But yeah, so I believe I would be number 1, just because of the magnitude of this fight and, how we both perform and how we both like dominated up to this point. I would assume that I would be around 1. I'm also the only guy in the top 10 that have beaten 3 other guys in the top 10. So,
right.
The quality of my opponents is really high, and I'm just, I just feel like I'm the best.
Absolutely. Have you talked to Sergio about this? Because it looks like it's inevitable that very soon you two will be fighting.
We just pretend it ain't happening until, we sign contracts, you know? So,
yeah, that makes sense.
Just because we're teammates and we help each other out, So if we get a fight with somebody else, we'll be a good training partner, and we'll give him looks that'll help him for that fight. That's just how we've been doing it forever. So, we're just gonna until they announce that we're fighting or tell us that we're fighting. It's probably gonna be the same. We'll
Makes
just
sense.
act like it didn't happen.
Makes sense. And you guys both train out of Duke Rufus Gym, right?
Yes, sir.
So when it does happen, then what is Duke gonna do? Do you think he's gonna pick one of you over the other, or probably not? He'd just be sitting in the chair in the fan seat.
We talked, and one of my other coaches, Scott Cushman, he brought up like a good idea, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, so we'll train together or whatever, and then as soon as the fight happens, we'll just bring no coaches, and then me and Sergio pretty much will be we'll bring 2 other teammates. Both of us will bring 2 teammates, and then we'll just go in there and fight without any coaches.
That makes sense. That makes sense because your teammates know you well, and I know that I'm sure Duke wouldn't want to be in one corner over the other. You know what I was thinking about when I think of Duke, man? I think about his older brother, Rick the Jet Rufus.
Yeah, Rick Rufus. He's a beast.
He is. Does he ever spend much time around the gym?
No, I think he's in California, or he was in California helping out with what's that gym? Alpha Mill.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, as far as I know, that's kind of where he's at. And maybe he's got a gym out there. But yeah, we don't see him that often. Duke talks about him a lot, and praises him and shows us his techniques all the time. We watch a lot of film from him. So yeah, he's definitely an influence in Duke's teaching.
Good. He's a warrior, because I'm an older guy, Generation X guy, just like Duke and Rick. And I remember watching them fight, and Rick was first. I remember I was a kid. I was watching Rick. He was in a kickboxing match where he had the long pants that kickboxing, right? And he had red, white, and blue like a flag, fighting sweats. Yeah, he was slick.
That. I've watched a bunch of his fights.
Yeah, he was slick, man. That was way back in the day. That was before they even thought about MMA. It's too bad too, because if Rick and Duke were younger, man, they both could have been forces in MMA. Because they were such strong, athletic guys, and
definitely
they had their striking, right?
Definitely. Duke was thinking about doing MMA actually. It was like toward the end of his career. He actually trained, I think, for an MMA fight.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but it never came to. But yeah, Duke definitely could do it. I know for a fact Duke could do it. His wrestling is good. His jiu-jitsu is good. He's very knowledgeable. He'd do very well.
I believe it. And Duke is like what, 4 or 5 years younger than Rick? Because I know Rick's got to be like 55 or 56 now.
Yeah, I think Duke's around 50.
Right about the big 5-0.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. You know what you should do if you want to see some Rick amazing matches. He had 2 or 3 matches against an African-American fighter, Michael McDonald. And they just beat the crap out of each other, right? That guy was a beast too, if you look him up. But look up Rick Rufus, Michael McDonald. And,
Michael will do.
Yeah, some amazing fights. So you got the Pettis brothers. Now, Sergio, you and Sergio are like a similar age, right? You're 29, right?
I'm 32, actually.
32, all right.
I'm 32. Sergio just turned 28.
Okay, all right. So, but you're still right there in your prime, and that even gives you possibly even the strength advantage, because I know a lot of fighters in their early 30s are a little bit stronger than fighters in their 20s. But nevertheless, it's still pretty close. And you guys, how many years have you been training at Rufus with Sergio Pettis? Like 3-4 years, more than that?
Yes, I've been training there like 7 years.
Wow. And and the Pettis brothers have been there from the beginning as well, right?
Yeah, he's been there since he was like 8 or 16, I think.
Wow. So
15 or 16,
so you guys been training together for about 7 years, the whole time you've been there.
Yeah, the whole time I've been there, I've been with Sergio. Yeah.
Crazy, man, crazy. Well, you know what, it will be what it'll be, because I know that most teammates say, I'm not fighting my teammate unless it's for the title, but this would be for the title, right? So
yeah, so it's like that's the only way I do it, if it'll change the kind of trajectory of my family. But
it is
what I'm
what
really
it is.
hoping for, if they're doing like $1 million tournament, and we fight on opposite sides of the bracket, that way, we can still be teammates for a lot longer, and then I can run through the other guys and make $1 million at the end. The winner gets $1 million. So
absolutely, I'd really like to see that. So you, I'm sure, are a fan of MMA. Who are some of the other fighters out there other than the guys? Because I know you're obviously a big fan of the Pettis brothers and whoever else is over at Rick Rufus. Or other than the Pettis brothers, who are some of the fighters that you like a lot If you want to throw your teammates out there and maybe throw out some people though that more people may have heard of, if you wouldn't mind, even if it's someone in the PFL or UFC or One Championship, any people that you are impressed with, or maybe even like bantamweights that you think would be fun matchups in some of these other organizations?
I'm always a fan of Demetrius Johnson. You know, I feel like he's the GOAT, you know, and I like his style and, you know, how he carries himself in fights and otherwise.
Definitely.
I also like my teammate, Gerald Mearshart, who's the leader of submissions in the UFC at the middleweight division. Who else we got at bantamweight? You know, I'm pretty impressed with Corey Sandhagen. Sandhagen, I trained with him, and he's really talented, and he had like an amazing fight against T.J. Dillashaw. You know, I feel like he's a force. Also, Adrian Yanez, who I'm beginning to train with.
Yes, very good fighter. Great striker.
Very good fighters.
Yeah, that Yanez fight, man, against
Costa.
Costa, yeah, man, because Costa came out immediately with that length, and it was looking like Costa was just piecing him up, but Yanez looked like he just stayed composed. And what do you feel it is that made the tide turn in the second round of that fight?
Yanez is just comfortable being a dog, man. He's a dog. He when stuff gets tough, he doesn't wilt. He just, you know, stays true to what he knows, and you know, goes and gets the job done.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, because this is something I think a lot of people kind of are curious about, and they can't really know unless they've been in there. Like, when you saw that second round come around and Costa went from looking super confident, dancing around, touching up Yanez, keeping on touching him, all of a sudden, like, you could see the look in Costa's face. He almost looked like something was wrong, like he was confused, like he didn't want to throw anything. What made him feel that way and look that way, do you think?
I would say it's a bit of adrenaline dump, and I would say it's a bit of you know, like experience. So experience plays like a major role, like what experience you have. So if he's not comfortable being like the backside, you know, or somebody like beating on him for a while, if you're not comfortable in that position, you don't really know how to react or overcome it, you know what I mean? And that builds more anxiety and builds more like hesitation and things of that nature. So there's a lot of stuff like going through your mind at once because you're not comfortable in places.
Right.
But I think that's the two things that I would attribute to like somebody like looking like a really amazing and then, you know, kind of falling off.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, I'm thinking maybe is it that once he started to feel some of Yanez's power, it looks like he didn't want to throw. Because one thing a lot of people don't think about is if you're throwing, you're opening yourself up to being hit. And if you don't want to be hit because you don't like it, then it kind of makes a bunch of guys kind of stop throwing, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Power definitely plays a factor.
Yeah, but yeah, that Yanez coming back, man. Yeah, and that was bantamweight. So that's your division there. And then over in one, you got Demetrius Johnson, who I also feel is definitely the GOAT of the lighter weights, possibly the GOAT of all the weights. You know, he's amazing. Question for you. Adriano Moraes in that fight with Mighty Mouse looked a lot bigger than Mighty Mouse. Now, I've heard some people try to say, no, it didn't, look again, but I think most of us looked and saw that not only did Moraes look like he was like 4 inches taller, but he looked like he was the heavier man.
Oh, no, he definitely was the heavier man. He was definitely.
And part of this is because the flyweight division in One Championship is 135 limit, not 125 limit.
Yeah, because they have to be rated while weighing in.
Exactly. And so essentially, Mighty Mouse is back up to where he had to fight before he really became the Mighty Mouse we all know. Back up at bantamweight when he was a real short guy and a small guy. And Adriano Moraes has some skills. We know that. We could see that. But Mighty Mouse hadn't lost for a while. I mean, maybe sometimes you can get better after you lose, but can he come back at his age, having to fight now in this heavier weight class and do some damage, or is it going to be a difficult road, do you think, for him?
No, I think Mighty Mouse will come back and be just as good. I don't feel like he gets like too caught up in ego and too caught up in like much of anything.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Which plays like to his benefit, because then he'll brush this off his shoulder like, yeah, I got knocked out. Like, I'm not the baddest man in the world. You know what I mean? So I think, and that's what makes him like great to me. Like he doesn't boast about how good he is or anything, or he doesn't like play any ego about how good he is, but he's just that good. And he's confident, but he's just, he's just confident.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's amazing. His skills are so balanced and such a mellow, chill guy. I mean, that's one of the things I really was surprised that UFC didn't try to jump behind him. But let me ask you this. It seems like 125 weight class doesn't get a lot of love anywhere. For whatever reason, a lot of people are hating the guys that are 125 pounds. And UFC was talking about getting rid of that division a year ago, 2 years ago. And they didn't want to seem to put a lot of energy behind Mighty Mouse, and part of me is thinking that Mighty Mouse was not a trash talker. Mighty Mouse was a super respectful, intelligent, humble, true martial artist. And it seemed to me like because he was that lightest weight class, and because he didn't have any crazy image or talk trash, that they kind of just felt, well, you know what? People don't care about this guy. Yeah, he's the GOAT, whatever, blah, blah, but people don't want to watch him. I mean, what do you think about that? Is that something that is a reality that can't be overcome? Or do you think they could have done something to try to put the publicity machine behind Mighty Mouse?
I mean, they could. It's just harder. It's harder to promote those type of what's the name. But I'm not saying it can't be done. Right. It can be done. More people respond, or it's easier to get people to respond to chaos than it is, people to respond to like, yeah, I'm a good person and good martial arts. Right. It's just easy, I mean, that's why the news is so big, the bad news sells, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it could be done. Yeah, it could be done, but they didn't want to spend the money to do it. They didn't want to spend the time to do it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, it is what it is. And one championship came up with money because it's got to be a show me the money type of situation, especially Mighty Mouse has put in so much time. You got to pay him. And that's something that I hope happens. And I like the $1 million tournaments, the idea, and, hopefully that comes up for you. So at 135, man, it's an exciting landscape. Love to see a tournament in there. 135 has pretty much been your home, and you feel comfortable staying here for quite a bit longer? Or do you think at one point you could be eyeing 145?
At this point, I'm still at 135. Maybe later on, maybe a couple of years, or depending on how me cleaning out the division goes. I'll be open to moving up, but it's not a bad weight cut for me now.
That's cool. So let me ask you about a couple other Bellator things, because we want to show Bellator some love. We appreciate what you guys are doing. It seems to me that if you look back 2 years ago, Bellator wasn't nearly as deep with potential superstars as they are now. So I like the direction Bellator is going. What did you think of that AJ McKee Pitbull fight? Did you expect that McKee would win convincingly or win at all, or did it surprise you?
It definitely surprised me. I didn't think, I wasn't super surprised that he won, because he's very good, but yeah, he surprised with how he finished and how dominant he was. That was amazing. He was amazing. He showed out, on the biggest stage of his life, and I kind of stopped doubting AJ McKee after he fought, I think it was Derek Campos. I was able to witness that fight live, and just because I was fighting on the card too. But so AJ McKee is very good, and I was super impressed with him.
Absolutely, and they had a lot of bad blood there. That was craziness that was going on in that press conference, man, with them talking all that trash, but that brought some excitement.
They've been yapping at each other for years, so they got plenty of ammo against each other. And they've been watching each other for a long time. Like when Pitbull was champion when AJ first started, what I mean?
Yep.
So that's crazy, what I mean? Crazy for Pitbull to reign that long, and it's also, cool and crazy for AJ to start MMA and then pretty much defeat the guy who he's been looking up to for the longest.
Absolutely. And he's got a cool gym over there. His dad, Antonio McKee, is a unique dude, former MMA champion. And then they got Joey Davis over there, Black Ice, who's a very good wrestler. I think Joey Davis in Division II was like 175-0 in his 4 years.
What's the name? I actually wrestled against his team.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, I wrestled against Joey Davis's team. I had two teammates wrestle against him. They both lost. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. I know a guy who was a really good high school, like all city wrestler and a good jiu-jitsu guy. And he went over there and trained with them a little bit. And he said that even though he knew exactly where Joey was going to shoot, he couldn't stop him no matter what. I mean, it was like literally he knew, and my friend's a strong guy, but he said Joey Davis is like, boom. He said they started and boom, my friend's down his butt on the ground. And he was like, damn.
Very good.
Yeah, without a doubt. They got some good people over there. Kimbo Slice's son kind of gave it a shot. Baby Slice.
He's fighting here again.
Is he?
Ferguson. Yep,
cool.
He's fighting, I want to say in September.
Cool. Can't wait to see that. Let me ask your opinion on this next Bellator that we have going Friday. Some interesting fights there. I'm looking in the middle and I'm seeing a few guys. What do you think? Adam Borix and J.J. Wilson. You know, it's weird. Borix was hot for a while. Now they got him barely a favorite over J.J. Wilson, someone I never heard of.
Borix is like really, really good, but J.J. has like come into his own. Like his last 2 or 3, I think he's gotten knockouts, and I think the last one was over somebody that was ranked number 3 or ranked very high.
Oh wow! Any prediction on that fight, Borix or Wilson?
Oh man, I gotta go Borix. I just feel like Borix is he's more dynamic and has more he's just more dynamic, and he's got a little better skill, I would say. Yeah. But JJ is explosive and very good, and he's still young and he's ever improving. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a close fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Oddsmakers have it close. How about Kevin Lee's brother Keith Lee against someone named Jornell Lugo, who is a big favorite over Keith?
Yeah, that's a tough fight. I'm gonna say Keith Lee. I had a tough fight with Keith Lee. I know how good he is. I know that Lugo kid is pretty good too. But I'll say Keith Lee. I'm gonna go Keith Lee.
The slight upset in that one. I like it. All right, and then how about we go? The other few guys, not enough guys. No, so let's go to the top. I am so happy to see a man that we had on the show 3 years ago. This man's got to be 45 years old if he's a day, and he still looks like he has like 8% body fat. We're talking about Czech Congo. Going up against Sergey Haritanov's got to be 45 years old as well. Both these guys have been in the game for 20 years. What do you think of?
I was at Home Depot today, and I was wearing a Bellator shirt, and somebody was like, and I'm in Houston, Texas right now. Somebody was like, "Hey, you a fighter?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, Czech Congo?
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, yeah, I know him. He's fighting this couple weeks. He's like, oh yeah. I'm good friends with him. I know him.
He's a cool dude.
Okay. You say what?
He's a cool dude. Sorry to interrupt you there, but he
seems like a really cool dude.
And you know what's funny? I'm looking at his record. My producer just pulled it up. If he had not been on the wrong end of a split decision last year against Timothy Johnson.
Tim Johnson. Yeah.
Right. If he had not been on the wrong end of that split decision, that would have been like 10 wins in a row. And that was his
title, I think.
Yeah, that's a shame, man. I hate to see that happen, but now he's got
Tim Johnson went on to fight for the title.
Yeah, that's right. Johnson's a tough guy with that big mustache, I think. And that's okay. So Haritonov is 40 and Czech is 46. I know Haritonov's, but he has been in the game for 20 years. I remember when he fought in Pride, he came in there wearing like the army camouflage fatigues. I remember Russian army coming in, so he's been at it for a while. What do you think in that one, man? That's an interesting matchup between two veterans, Haritonov against Czech Congo. What do you think?
I'm gonna go. I haven't watched much of the other guy, to be honest.
Right,
I don't know
right.
any of the other guys, so I'm gonna go Czech Congo.
Makes sense. So 135, we got some interesting things coming up. I may have asked you this last time, and I think I maybe did, but Brian Ortega against Volkanovski. I think that you definitely have Volkanovski winning that fight all day, or you think it could be a close one?
No, I definitely think it's going to be a close one. Yeah, that's at 145. I think Brian Ortega has like really improved since his Max Ortega fight or Max Holloway fight. And you know, Holloway and Volkanovski have had like really tough matches. So I think that's really gonna be close because the wrestling or the jiu-jitsu of Brian Ortega, I think will maybe make Volkanovski maybe not as wrestle heavy. And then I think the striking, he's got some dynamic striking. Brian Ortega, and I think it's gonna be tough. It's a tough fight.
It is. It's gonna be a good battle. How about this Saturday on the UFC, if you wouldn't mind? What's your opinion on a flyweight match with Brandon Royval against Alexandre Pantoja?
Oh man, that's a good fight too.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Pantoja's
Brandon Royval.
Yeah, I like Royval too.
Yeah. I feel like he's so he's like a numbers guy. He's like always going, always moving, and you know he's got some good power. Yeah, I like Royval.
Absolutely. I know that Royval only had that one kind of slip up against the now champion Brandon Moreno, where he that fight ended in an injury and to his leg or something. But I think he's definitely going to be on the warpath to come back in that fight. Here, let me ask you about this other one. This is a weight class above yours at featherweight, I believe it is. Is this featherweight or is this lightweight? I think featherweight. Yeah, you got Clay Guida going up against Mark O. Madsen, the Olympian from Denmark. And let me ask your opinion on this. Mark Madsen is a slight favorite in that fight. I have all respect in the world for Clay Guida, but Mark Madsen is a naturally bigger man. I think he's a couple years younger, but he's got a lot less wear and tear on his body. He's probably 5 times the wrestler that Clay Guida ever was, which is why he's a little bit of a favorite. But I was listening to some guys throwing out their predictions, and all kinds of people are throwing out, man, I might have to go with Clay Guida, this, that, and the other. And it's like, anything could happen, but I don't see how they're thinking that. I mean, Clay Guida, what do you think?
I don't know. Unless something crazy happens, I feel like the Mark guys wrestling will. Clay Guida's wrestling is, it's good because of how Clay Guida fights.
Right.
And it's kind of like, I want to call it dirty, but I don't mean that as like bad.
Just gritty, it's just, real gritty, yeah.
Gritty, yeah, it's gritty, you know. But I feel like that Mark guy's wrestling will maybe cancel out that kind of style.
That's what I think, you know, because... Go ahead.
I'll go with the Mark guy.
Yeah, that's what I really think, because I just honestly, I think with Guida being really at the tail end of his career, it just seems like the guys that he can beat are guys that just are really, really green and really, really new. And I know Madsen maybe doesn't have a lot of MMA fights, but his wrestling is just so much better. I just think really, even if he just basically stays on top of Guida and holds him down, he wins that fight.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, there's other interesting fights, all kinds of good stuff going on. How soon do you think it'll be till you hear about when your next fight will be? Are they giving you any hints or anything?
No, I haven't heard anything yet. I would imagine that I'd hear something in the next 2-3 weeks. As far as like a plan or something. And right now I'm just kind of chilling, you know. I had a lot going on this camp. I had to, I moved to Texas and we bought a new house and I got a new 3-month-old baby. So
congratulations.
Thanks. So right now I'm pretty much just like gonna soak it in for at least a month or so, and then look to start another camp.
It makes sense because you do have to recover. A lot of people, I think, look at a fight and see if one guy wins, they kind of almost look at it like, well, then that guy didn't take any damage for sure. And that can't be further from the truth, right? If you go in there with 3 hard rounds.
Yeah, right? There's always injuries and stuff, you know. You check a kick, you block the punch, even me kicking somebody, you know, even if I hit him perfectly, I'm still bone on bone most situation, or bone on muscle. You know, you got a little bit of injuries.
Exactly. So how soon do you think you would be ready if it were like an ideal time for you?
Ideally, like November or December.
Okay, wow. And do you think there is any possibility that Bellator could move that fast with you, or probably not?
Yeah, I fought. So this has been my 5th fight. I fought, but my first fight was December of 2020. Mm-hmm. So I fought 5 times already since December. Yeah, 2020. So I'm on the fast track.
I like it. I like it.
Which I like it. I like it that way, just because I don't have that many injuries. I have some injuries, but I don't have that many injuries. So I like staying busy.
Absolutely. So last couple things here in the last couple of minutes we have you, Raufeon. One of them would be, can you give any advice to fighters coming up? I mean, I know that as a pro, things have gone very, very well for you, and I'm sure it's not by accident. And you fought some tough guys coming up, you know, too, and have always been grinding. What can you tell, let's say, a fighter who is just about ready to go pro? They've had a few amateur fights, and they're really excited, and they have a lot of potential, because a whole bunch of guys come in and then don't end up where you're at. That whatever bad managers or taking fights last second, you know, a bunch of guys end up kind of throwing away their career because of things not going well. What can you tell a fighter who's about ready to turn pro to look out for and to do, so that maybe he could end up being like a 17-1 fighter a few years later, like yourself?
One thing I would say, the first thing I would say is do away with like fight camps and make fighting. It's got to be like a lifestyle, and I got to be like constantly growing and getting better as a mixed martial artist myself. Like, I'm not preparing for fights. When fights come along, then you just add techniques that will work better in those fights. But if you make the fighting a lifestyle, or martial arts, getting better at all martial arts a lifestyle, is going to make it a lot easier to take fights. It's going to make it a lot easier to use tools that are good for fights and to skill build, things like that. So like the consistency of always, you know, just making mixed martial arts your lifestyle. Like, it's just a part of your life. It's something you do every day. I think that goes a long way.
Absolutely. That makes sense. I really appreciate that a lot. What's the best place for people to support you on social media? And then also feel free to thank anyone you want, team, sponsors, whatever you want.
Yeah, you can find me on social media, Raufeon Stots on Instagram, one word, Raufeon Stots, one word on Twitter. And then also on Facebook, you can find me, Raufeon Stots 2 word, or Raufeon Stots fan page.
Awesome. And Raufeon, I really appreciate you, man, coming on here after your great victory. People are excited about you. This has to be a good feeling, passing by kind of this juggernaut in this Russian guy that everyone had built up. And so now you have his smoke, you know, as well as yours, man. So I'm really excited, because you're a very, very good guy. You're respectful. You never hesitate to make your obligation when we have you on the show. You come on, the sound is good and clear. And so I really appreciate you a lot, and want to let you know we'll be cheering for you. Let us know, man, when you got something else signed. We'll have you back on to help hype it up.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Have a great night.
All right, you too.
Thanks. And that was the man they call Super, Raufeon Stots. That was just such a great victory, man, because they were really building up that Russian guy as the Terminator, like Habib 2.0.
Right, and oh man, you and I were both sitting here like,
We were like,
no.
Raufeon's in that fight. We knew
He's
it.
not just in it; he's taking it.
We did. We both said we got Raufeon.
I was like, yeah, no, he's the dog I'm taking. And you're like, yep.
Yep. He's a really good dude. I like him. Man, sad that he's gonna have to fight his 7-year teammate when that comes down to it. I mean, I like what he said.
Kind of cool.
Well, it is, but you know what? I like what he said. It would be great if instead of that, they did like another season of like a Bellator tournament, this time with bantamweights, because they just finished the featherweight tournament, and the winner, AJ McKee, got $1 million and the title. That would be super cool if they could do that, because then they'd actually have, them in different brackets, and then they could have both of them have like 2 or 3 other fights, make some more money, and then the winner make that real big money, But even if they don't do that, they better pay both of them. I know Scott Coker will. If they
he'll pay him. I mean, listen, Raufeon is 17-1 right now. I mean, he deserves the pay. He's another Antonio AJ McKee. AJ McKee.
Yep.
Yeah, I caught myself, and you just tried to repeat it. But,
well, he officially it is Antonio McKee Jr. AJ. Yeah. He is. He really is. And Sergio Pettis, man, has that Pettis name. It may at the end be the better of the 2 Pettises when all is said and done, even though his brother was on the Wheaties box. But yeah, I'd like to see them both get paid. But that's an exciting division. I like what Raufeon has to say, and he's got some good people there, and I think some good people that are going to be coming out to train with him as well. And the Duke Rufus school, always great, always really, really exciting fighters over there for sure. And Gerald Mearshart, his teammate, coming up fighting. Anyway, so we have an underdog pick. He's going with Keith Lee this Friday.
I could see that happening.
Yeah. The Lees are tough. Kevin and Keith Lee are very, very tough. And anyway, so do we want to break down together this?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a while. Let's go over this. We've got some great fights. I mean, Cannonier against Gastelum.
Oh yeah, there's some very good fights. You want to start a little bit lower?
Yeah, of course. I want to. But
starting. Okay, so.
I mean, almost at the beginning here, we've got some great ones.
Absolutely. So the Trevin Jones fight, I think, was pushed back like twice. I'm not that familiar with Mana Martinez, but I like Trevin Jones a lot, and I think Trevin Jones...
I know my mouse was sliding over that one, but...
no problem. That's right. And I know Trevin Jones, I believe Trevin Jones wins that fight. Let's move on. Roosevelt Roberts against Ignacio Bajamundus. Bajamundus, was kind of gifted the split decision against our friend Chris Brown. And Bajamundus then got the break in the UFC instead of Chris. Although Chris coming off this great win, he's got to be called up any minute. Anytime I see Chris put out on Instagram, I'm like, Chris, please be saying the UFC picked you up. It's gonna any second it's gonna happen. But anyway, so you got Bajamundus here. I think came up short against a really good fighter in his first UFC fight. Now he's going up against Roosevelt Roberts, who's very tough. But I think is like 1-1 in the UFC or 2-2 or something. Right. I don't know who to call on that one, because if you can hang with our guy Chris Brown, then you're tough. But Roosevelt Roberts is tough as well. Yeah, I was going to say that, and that's the one that has me really excited just to see what the outcome is. It should be exciting, because I mean, to edge a split decision against Chris Brown is no small feat. You got some talent. You've got some big time talent. And Roosevelt Roberts is not. He's not a slouch either. He's not a slouch either. There's a reason the odds makers have him as a favorite. Yeah, so I can't call that one. That could go either way. Both very tough fighters. Sasha Polatnikov, I met after his first UFC victory. He looked great, and then he came back and lost in his second fight, so I think he's 1-1. Slight dog here against Ramiz Brahimaj, who is a tough fighter. Once again, they're both really good. I just don't know enough about either guy in that fight to call it, but I think it's going to be a close fight. Bea Malecki, we had on the show about 1.5 or 2 years ago from Sweden. Very nice woman, big, tall, strong fighter with a great striking and Muay Thai background, 5'11", 145, just 29 years old, undefeated in her short MMA career, 4-0. The girl she's going up against, Josiane Nunes, and Nunes is 7-1, so a little bit more experienced, about 5'3" against 5'11". Wow. Yeah, this is going to be a fun one to watch. That's a unique one. Now, the last time Bea fought a shorter, smaller fighter was the last fight, I think, against Veronica Macedo, right? If we take a look and see. and that's going down. Bea Malecki, I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, and just the size, you know, and Bea's skillful too, and Malecki, Macedo's bigger than Nunes. Nunes a tough girl though, 7-1. I got Bea Malecki though all day in that fight. I mean, Nunes is kind of an X factor and a question mark, and making her UFC debut here. But I think Bea's got that fight.
Yeah, I think Bea does as well. In fact, that they're probably matching this one up to get her a little more exposure.
Yeah, I think there's great value. I would have think she would have been, Bea would be like -260 or -300.
Right.
And she's just like minus.
Well, she's also fresh enough.
Also she hasn't fought for a year and a half too. But no, I think there's big value in these odds with Bea Malecki. Sherant and William Knight, it's hard to say both. Right. So Austin Lingo, very tough guy. Luis Saldana. Again, I just don't know enough about them. I actually hadn't had a chance to do my homework yet.
Me either.
Yeah. Brian Kelleher, very tough guy. He's fought several guys that are bigger than him, up a weight class. He's such a tough, rugged guy. Let's go to take a look at Kelleher, because I think he did lose his last fight, Brian Kelleher. So he's one of the few UFC fighters.
He did.
He did.
I was calling him on that one.
Yes, I did too. Ricky Simone just came on looking like a killer in that fight, and Brian hung with him, but just the wrestling was too much. And you know what though? So look at these great fighters, though. He's fought so many great fighters. Look at that. I mean, the bottom line is, in this fight, way more experienced fighter is Kelleher. How old's Kelleher? Yeah, everyone he's fought. Kelleher's like, what, 34? He's one of the few fighters with double-digit losses in the UFC, but he's also got double-digit wins, 22 and 12. He's fought everyone there is to fight. How old is he now? Like 32 or 3?
He's 34.
34, that's right. Let's take a look at this guy he's fighting, Domingo Pilarte. So Pilarte is from Texas, fighting out of Texas, 6 feet tall, definitely taller. Wow, tall fighter for a bantamweight. 31 years old, 8-2. Let's see his level it comes to. So he came in to the UFC off of a win in Dana White's Contender Series. He lost a split decision in his first fight to Felipe Diaz-Colares, and then he went against Journey Newsom in a fight that was overturned. I don't remember who actually won that fight. I think it was Journey Newsom. So I don't think that Mr. Pilarte is off to the greatest start in the world. And although, you know what? Look back. He's got a win over Adrian Yanez by split in the LFA. Yanez is a beast. Yanez is killing it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, if I didn't see that right there, I would say Kelleher all day.
It's also been 4 years, though.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. The Yanez was like, Yanez is young now. He was super young then, so he probably beat a really green Yanez. I got Boom Kelleher here in this fight. It should be interesting. Should be interesting. And then what are the odds? Kelleher slight favorite? No, I think they have Pilarte favorite.
Pilarte's a favorite in this.
No, he isn't. No, he isn't. No, they do have. Yeah, these odds are right. Yeah, Kelleher about 1 and 3.
I agree with them 100%.
Me too. Yeah, Kelleher.
You know, if I'm going for a straight pick and I'm not looking for the dog, I actually might go on Kelleher on this one.
Yeah, I like Kelleher. I think
usually favorites I don't pick, but
right.
You know, this is one to throw in a parlay.
Yeah, I like Kelleher a lot. I do. I really do. Next fight, our guy from hell, Vince Pichel, a great guy who dropped the F-bomb more times than any other guest on the MMA Power Hour history, and also said some other really wacky, crazy shit because he's an honest dude. He's not fake. He tells it like it is, and he's a character. I'd love to see Vince get some more wins and start being talked about for some big fights, because he's a unique, double freaking tough dude. But let's go take a look and see who he's going against. It looks like it's Austin Lingo, I think,
no, it's Austin Hubbard.
Austin Hubbard, that's right. So Vince is 38 years old. That's getting a little bit old. 5'10", so he's got a fairly good size for a lightweight. He's coming off 1 year layoff. He beat Jim Miller and Roosevelt Roberts after losing to Gregor Gillespie before that. Wow, so he's like 6-1 in the UFC, or isn't he? He's like 5 or 6-1 in the UFC, which is really good. No, it's like 7-2 or 8-2. 6
1, 2, 3, 4,
6 and 2.
6 and 2.
6 and 2. That's a really good record. Vince is a tough guy, and 38 years old. Let's see Austin Hubbard. Austin Hubbard is a guy who really started rocking and then kind of came up against a wall a little bit here, a little bit younger, and 13-5. Elevation Fight Team, though. Okay, so he's off a win. So look at that. Win one, lose one. Win one, lose one. LFA starts out Davi Hamos, who's a beast, loses to him, comes back and beats Prepelec, comes back and loses a close fight against Mark O. Madsen, who was on our show, came back and made Max Roskopf quit in that fight that Max Roskopf caught a bunch of heat, although he is a decent, tough dude who did his best. Then he came back and Joe Selecki got on his back, backpacked him, and choked him out pretty much like that in the first round. Came back against Dakota Bush. So if you go by Austin Hubbard's record, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, it's time for him to lose here. But that
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, Vince is a beast. Vince is the man that can do it.
Yeah.
What are the odds in that fight? This is a close fight.
Oh yeah, it is.
This is a close.
Most of this card's pretty close. That's what I love about this.
Yeah. Vince is,
it is almost
dead even. It's like just about dead even. Look in the middle. All the books are almost even in the middle. Yeah. So this is a pick'em. This is a true pick'em fight. At 38, at some point, Vince is going to slow down. I hate saying that because I'm older than all these dudes, but so I always cheer for the older, fighters anyway, because I believe that you're not all washed up just because you're 36 or 38 or 40 or 45. Anyway,
I'm going to tell you this: watch for the arbitrage. You may get one on this fight. I think there's going to be a lot of late money on Vince.
That would be great. I think it could be as well. For some reason, it almost seems like the books are in collusion to not get any ARB action going. They just don't want to have plus on both sides, and that's.
I mean, you can only do so much about that.
That's true. You're right, because the book's going to reflect. Yeah, but to me, it almost seems like there used to be arbing arbitrage opportunities, like a lot more, like a dozen years ago, 51, who knows. Anyway,
cryptocurrencies changed that. By the way, everybody check out Lith Token. Everybody's going to start hearing about it here soon.
Yes,
I guarantee it 100%. It's lithtoken.io. They are a proud supporter of the show, and actually so much so us getting involved with them has everything to do with me jumping on the team over there. Super excited. But check it out. It's lithtoken.io. Whether you buy it or not I'm not recommending anything as far as investments goes, but check it out, see what we're doing over there. It's pretty cool stuff.
Absolutely, very good stuff. Lith Token. Okay, next, our friend who was on our show also, I think possibly twice, Brandon Royval against Alexandre Pantoja. We have a call out from our last guest, Raufeon Stots, picking Brandon Royval. I'm liking Brandon here. Yes, he did come up short against Brandon Moreno, but Brandon Moreno now is the champion.
Yeah,
it's an absolute killer.
You and I were both saying it after that loss. There's no shame in it. We really meant it. Royval is coming up off a hot streak that he had right before that.
Yep.
And everybody was thinking he was going to. I mean, I had him picked. So the fact that he lost, I'm not disappointed. He came in there and he fought a good fight.
If that injury hadn't occurred, he might have won. You can't say he would have, but he might have. And Brandon Moreno is the best in the world. So yeah, I think that Pantoja is a beast, and
I don't think he stands a chance though against Royval.
He's the favorite. Godsmakers have him the favorite,
and I don't understand that one at all.
I think it's just because one's coming off a couple wins and one's coming off a loss. But they should look and see. You're right. The loss was against the best in the world, Moreno. I think Royval's live here too. I think this is where Brandon, his youth and his length and his determination to get back on track.
This is one I'm throwing in with the parlay with Kelleher.
Yeah, I like Royval. In fact, I think a very good parlay is Kelleher Royval. So I got Royval in a tough fight because Pantoja is a gritty fighter. But yeah, Brandon Royval I think is going to do it here. And then we have Parker Porter and Chase Sherman. Chase Sherman, a unique dude. Chase Sherman was on our show about 4 or 5 months ago. And I know some people that know him.
One of the hardest to get on our show, but only because he's so busy with his life.
He's a busy guy, and he doesn't love doing media because he's in a way he's got the similar mindset of being completely real as Vince Pichel does. The only difference is that Pichel also kind of has this wacky, zany sense of humor and has a lot of fun, maybe, using the F-bomb and saying other wild and crazy stuff because he's a cool dude. Chase is just kind of,
like the Fonz.
He's cool, but he's a rugged guy from the streets.
Yeah, he is.
And he really doesn't have a lot of trash to say. He wants to go in there and smash people's faces in. and he's a tough, serious, tough dude from the streets. And you know, so an interesting guy to have on. There was no fluff. He just said it like
none, zero filter. Colin kept looking over at me like, "Is this okay?"
Yeah, you know, but he just, you know, he's a cool dude. But fighting is his life. I think that for, you know, a guy like Chase Sherman, other than family or girlfriend, he's probably thinking fighting morning, noon, and night. And he's just he's a serious fighting dude and not really thinking much about conversations or bullshitting with people. But it was still cool talking.
I think the odds makers have this fight actually go in the right direction here. Chase Sherman, you know,
Porter's
almost 2-1.
Porter's a tough dude, man. You know, he's a big, strong, rugged guy. He always looks a little bit fatty. I think his body looks a lot like Timothy Johnson over in Bellator.
Right.
Just like a big kind of rugged dude, a little bit chubby. This is an important fight though, because I know that Chase came off a loss, and why don't we pull that up in fact?
I'm on it.
Yeah, let's get that, and then so Chase Sherman against Parker Porter. So let's kind of put them side to side, at least in my brain. Okay, 6'4", 251, 31 years old after a 4-fight win streak. Yeah, Andrei Arlovsky, Chase. Now here's another thing. Chase trained at the same place with Andre at Jackson Wink, and I think with Andre several times, so they knew each other really well. And I think he just maybe went in there with too much respect for Andre, and also Andre, whose chin looked like it was made of glass for a while, is looking like he's more determined now. He can take the shots. He's rolling with the shots. He's making people miss. And I think Chase just wasn't expecting that. On the flip side of it, 5 years older, Parker Porter, 4 inches shorter. And Parker Porter, 10-6. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So Parker Porter had a good fighting career in CES, which is a good show that was on Access TV. He came in and got stopped by a friend of our show who's been on, Chris Dawkins, quickly. But then he came back in as an underdog and beat Josh Parisian, who's a very tough dude from Michigan, who also
really tough. But at the same time, we're talking levels here. I think Chase is at like the Chris Dawkins level. I don't think Josh Parisian is
not quite yet. That was his. I think it may have been Josh's debut. I think in that fight. You know, I think Josh has won one since then. I think maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, Chase is just a much taller, bigger, stronger guy here, and looks more like a fighter. But Porter's rugged. I think Chase wins this fight, but this is an important fight for Chase. If Chase looks at all befuddled or confused, or lets this kind of short, chubby guy kind of somehow piece him up and dictate the range, then, you know, Porter's a somewhat talented dude and can win, and that would be a real bad look for Chase. If Chase can come in there as the bigger man and just blast this dude out of there, that's what he really needs for his career. So I think we're going to see that. Okay, on to this fight. Just like, you know, and I know I was kind of setting up or framing this in a way for Raufeon to give an answer, but Raufeon is his own man, and he gave the answer that he believed in and he wanted to give, which is that Mark Madsen wins this fight. I just don't understand this. Here's the thing, Adam. Yes, Mark Madsen is 36 years old, but he's got virtually no miles on him. He's only been fighting MMA since what, 2017, 2013. Okay, but he's only had what, 8 fights? And he's won.
He's had 10
fights. 10 fights though. He's won all of them. I think he's only taken damage in maybe 2 of them. And he's a very strong, young, 36 years old. 5'10", right? Was he 5? Yeah, 5'10". He 170. 170. So he's going down. No, anyway, he fought at 170, but his last few fights have been at 155. So Clay Guida is back at 155 after having been at 145.
Oh, you know what? When we had Mark on, he actually talked about that. He was going to go up in weight. He was talking about it then.
Right, right. Yeah. So, okay. So this fight's at 155. Clay Guida spent like 5 years at 145. He's 39 years old, and he's been a pro for like 16 years. The dude has hella miles on him. I mean, the dude has more miles on him than an old-fashioned road map of California, you know, or Texas or whatever.
Let me age a little bit, because a lot of people say, yeah.
There you go. Well, there you go. Yeah,
pull my hair back, but
there you go. But I mean, in all honesty, like, you know, the only thing I think people can say here is that Guida is a way more experienced MMA fighter. I love Clay Guida. The dude is the Energizer Bunny at 39. He's still in better cardio condition and physical condition than most guys who are 29 or even 19. But I just don't see this as being anything but a dominant victory for Mark Madsen. Now, do I know everything? I don't. Am I saying take every cent you have and your brother's money and your sister's money as well and bet it on Mark Madsen? No. But I don't see, I just honestly, and I think you're with me on this, Adam, if Mark Madsen thinks he's going to have any kind of career in the UFC, he can't lose to a 39-year-old Clay Guida.
No, he can't lose to a 39-year-old Clay Guida, and I don't think he's really going to.
No,
I mean,
no.
Mark picks him wisely, and he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
A lot of people will criticize him, but he really is a picker and chooser, and he's always been able to really, just because of his pedigree. He is, from the high level wrestling.
Very high, gold medal, Olympic gold medal.
Exactly. So we've got.
You've got a guy who is like a D2 wrestler who's 39 years old and has a ton of mileage on him, against a guy who is an Olympic gold medalist wrestler.
Speaking of which, and I'm sorry I'm going to get off this card for a second. What about Gable Stevenson? Do you see him coming in? That would be so exciting watching.
Oh, that would be
and
great.
His level of wrestling, it's too exciting. It really is. Being a hardcore wrestling fan and growing up in a hardcore wrestling state and being a hardcore wrestler
and a heavyweight. We were just talking to, I forget which one of our guests it was, about we were talking about Devin to Hannibal, about the fact there are not a lot of heavyweights that can wrestle in MMA, and the reason we found that out was because they have the option of WWE, a lot of them. And
right, so I've brought this up numerous times, and sure enough, he started tweeting right away to Dana and the UFC, and when I say he, I'm talking about Gable Stevenson. And you know what? I think he is looking for an MMA career. I didn't think that was going to happen, but a lot of people made some great points. There's more longevity if you're not really
taking much damage.
Pro wrestling, you can take a lot of damage. It's intentional damage, but it's still dangerous. Part of the act, right? So it depends on which level he would get thrown in at. I think it would be too high of a level to not have the damage with the professional wrestling. But then you have Cormier who jumps in and says, "Oh, hey, I tell you what, you should really take the Brock Lesnar approach." And I'm thinking,
for us, because you're an MMA fan, we want to see Gable Stevenson. I mean, what's interesting is that you look at a guy that could be a blueprint for a great career for Gable, which is what the hell is his name? The Olympic gold medalist that's been in the UFC for 20 years, Kurt Angle, right? So if you look at the Kurt Angle blueprint, he gets into the WWE, which I think was WWF then when he was like 25 years old, 26, right? And at 50 or almost 50 now, he's still making a few $1 million a year. And that's 25 years of making seven-figure income. And obviously,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, but not everyone can get that, because that's basically doing dangerous stunts, But I guess it's possible. So I know that Gable could look at it and say, "Wow, man, I could be making seven figures."
I'm going to throw this out there though. His name is Gable Stevenson, and it's quite clear since his name was in honor of Dan Gable. In fact, it's Gable Dan Stevenson. He is very much from the world where professional wrestling makes a mockery of
pro wrestling. Amateur wrestling makes a mockery. Pro wrestling makes a mockery of amateur wrestling.
Absolutely. So you're like, and I know this because I come from it, and I don't think he's really going to go ahead and go over just because of that. And I think that might pump up his value, though, and make it so that he does get that seven-figure value. And it's like Hannibal was saying last week, really, WWE needs another Randy Savage. They do. Another John Cena. And Gable seems to have that kind of personality where he could pull it off.
Right, but then UFC could use that as well. UFC could use that.
UFC is hurting for that, exactly.
Anderson Silva, it'd be interesting to see, but I know that that we have.
Are we going to see a bidding war?
We really could be. The only thing is that I just don't know, for an unproven MMA athlete how much the Endeavor group is going to be willing to come up with. But you never know. I mean,
he's got a proven record of some kind, though, and it's a gold medal heavyweight wrestling.
And not only that, but the only guys that are well known in the UFC that have wrestling chops at heavyweight are Stipe and Curtis Blades, really. Everyone else has some chops, but not anywhere near Olympic level chops. Well, DC, but DC is retired now. And so otherwise at heavyweight, you have primarily strikers. Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane, Alexander Volkov, and so, Jairzinho Rosenstrike. A lot of strikers. So there's definitely a spot for him, and there really is, a pretty quick road to a UFC championship. Technically, if Gable fought, twice, 3 times a year for 2 or 3 years, maybe with like 7 or 8. Well, look, Cyril Gane with 7 or 8 pro fights just won the interim title, and he had nowhere near the credibility as a Gable Stevenson. So I think if Gable won 6 fights or 5 fights,
right? Hey, we've only got a couple minutes here before we got to go into our next guest, so I wanted to bring up the last fight here on the card, which is
Jared Cannonier, Kelvin Gastelum. Let me break this one down because this is a very interesting fight. Cannonier is 37-year-old. Can you check how old Kevin is real quick? I think he's like 33, 34. They're 29. Wow. And you know what it is? The reason why he's so young and everyone thinks he's older is I think at 20 he won the Ultimate Fighter. I think the dude was 20, and he's been in the UFC for
he's been doing it. He's been at it.
Yeah, so he's actually an old 29, if there's such a thing. He's got a lot of mileage on him.
I would say there is no such thing, really.
Probably
unless
not.
You have some rare,
but he does. He's got mileage on his joints and everything. Okay, so he's lost 4 out of his last 5 fights after having done a lot better prior to that. But let's look at that. He stopped Bisping with a punch. He barely got a decision over Jacare. He did lose to Israel Adesanya in a war.
That was a war.
Right, and then as a big favorite, he lost a split decision to Darren Till, but Darren Till at 185 is showing to be really tough. And Jack Hermanson caught him very quickly with a heel hook. He came back in and he kind of schooled Ian Heinisch. And then Robert Whittaker schooled him just like he schooled Heinisch. Sometimes you're the hammer, and sometimes
he's consistently fighting the highest level. So he
is for many years.
He's really got to bring that to the table.
He does. Okay, now let's take a look at Jared. So Jared's older, 37 years old, but hasn't been in the game nearly as long and taken as much damage. They both actually last fought Whittaker. Yep. They both got schooled by
Hermanson right before that.
And then, but the difference is, whereas Hermanson subbed Kevin, Jared beat him. Jared beat Anderson Silva, beat Derek Branch, and Jared actually at one point was a 260-pound heavyweight, and he actually fought briefly at heavyweight and then came down to light heavyweight. Look at his losses. Almost all those were light heavyweight. Sean Jordan was heavyweight, I believe. And so let's go back up to the top. So basically coming off, both of them coming off being smoked by Whittaker, the people will be looking at the age 29 versus 37. I don't think that's as much as a factor because Gastelum has got a lot.
I don't think the age is going to play the same.
This is a really close fight.
Here's where I'm going to go with this. I think it's Cannonier, and I think the judging factor to really make it make sense. And this is a little bit of math, and it doesn't always work out, but. Cannonier beat Jack Hermanson, and Gastelum was beat by
What's the what am I looking at here? What's the odds? I'm going to bet they should be making a Cannonier slight favorite. And they are, yes, yeah.
They're seeing it the same way as me.
Yeah, Cannonier probably wins this fight. He's just got the length. He's focused. Let me show me the dates of the last time they both fought. And then we can get off this. They both fought Whittaker. So Gastelum fought Whittaker 4 months ago, and that was his last fight.
You didn't remember it?
And it was about 10 months ago for Cannonier. Cannonier's going to be fresher to an equal 10 months versus 4 months. You know what? I think Gastelum still could conceivably be slightly banged up from that fight a couple months ago.
Yeah, no, we've got Cannonier. Just, I think he's going to come out and really, I think this is going to be a crowd pleaser. Yeah, it really is. But it is going to be Cannonier with a knockout. Yeah, I'm choosing second round knockout. Yeah, maybe third.
Unless Gastelum wrestles him and takes him down and keeps him down, but that's hard to do.
With Cannonier, he's one of those guys that can strike a wrestler coming in and being able to take him to the ground is going to be more of the stand-up takedowns, and not against a striker as good as this guy.
No, and after that loss to Whitaker, Cannonier is probably going to re-sort his crystals. And is going to come in with some energy, special thing like he does. He's a very cool dude. Yeah. He's a very psychological guy, and got all respect to the crystals and energy and the power.
The new age stuff. It's funny, but you know what? Respect it. Whatever. I find it funny, and I don't know everything.
He's a unique dude. He's a unique dude. He's a very introspective guy and very thought out and thoughtful guy. I think he wins, but nothing against Gastelum, because he's double tough too.
Right.
But it should be a great fight, and that's the main event.
Yep, that's the main event.
Yeah, nice. All right, we're ready. Well, we still have 3 minutes left, but so it should be a good card, man.
Yeah, that'll be a great card.
Wait, there one? Are they showing one other fight above that? Can you go back?
I mean, on here they are, but that's not.
But that can't be.
No, that's one of those. Why are you putting that there? But that's a replacement fight for the Mana Martinez and Trevin Jones.
All right. So if we want to say really quick, if that fight is actually happening,
I believe it. Not the
Al Razak. It's not even shown there.
It's not shown on that one. Nope. So
we'll forget about that one. But if it's on there, then Drago, Nato, Razak, Al Hassan. I would probably take Al Hassan, although he's been exposed for not having the best chin. But anyway,
that's definitely not the main event. But yeah,
Mark Madsen. I just hate to say it. I just really think is just going to dominate with the wrestling. I mean, I just don't know what they're thinking with Guida. I mean, Madsen's going to probably come in there 5-6 pounds heavier, 3 inches taller, 3 years younger, but an important 3 years younger. He's got way less damage on him. In my opinion, their physical age with damage would be like a 10-year difference. Madsen is physically super sound, super strong, and fresh. Guida has got to have like every joint in his body having freaking.
Yeah, Guida's. Listen, I think he's past his prime. Really, everybody's known that for how long now?
Yeah, several years.
Yeah, literally several years. Everybody knowing he's past his prime. He knows it.
Yeah,
but he enjoys this sport. And he's one of those guys that doesn't get rocked all the time.
No.
So.
And he likes to be challenged. He's not afraid
he likes to be challenged. He likes to go out there and have fun. He fights for the love of the sport. He's very similar to Cowboy, but he doesn't get rocked like Cowboy does because he doesn't take the risks that Cowboy does.
The only thing I think people could be thinking,
a little bit. I got to take that back. Guida is kind of known for his risk taking, but
the only thing I can think of is they may feel that Madsen's striking is so poor that Guida somehow can piece him up. I just don't see it. Guida's got some striking skills because he's way shorter, he's slower. And Madsen's obviously been training his striking regularly, and it's just going to keep getting better.
Right.
Marco Madsen, the Danishman, the Denmarkian for the win.
100%. Well, let's go into our Skype dance here. And before we do that, I want to go ahead and say, head on over to our social media, everybody. Hit us up. It's at MMA Power Hour. Give us all the likes, comments, and shares. We appreciate you for doing that. Also, make sure, if you're in Oklahoma, to get yourself some Tommy Chong's cannabis vape cartridges. And also check out lithtoken.io. I just joined that project, helping out with them. Legitimately helping with it. I'm not asking for money, but thank you guys.
Yes.
You guys are absolutely amazing, and it's at MMA Power Hour. We are also, if you're not on Fight TV, it's Fight TV, FITE.TV. If you're on Fight TV, make sure to head on over to Facebook and check us out on the Hannibal TV.
Yes, let me stick in one funny thing. I saw an old political advertisement that said, Mr. Johnson's idea says Oklahoman's idea of sports and leisure and entertainment is sitting around their backyard with a bug zapper. Vote for Wilson. So that was one of the funniest.
My idea of entertainment is definitely sitting in the backyard with the bug zapper.
Yeah, because you're in Iowa. They did that there too. Probably, right?
Sit there.
Yep,
try to catch it. Run around with the. I mean, they're all big.
Yeah, right.
You're holding them like a lantern.
Yep.
But
that was it. Sitting around your backyard with a bug zapper. Anyway, okay, let's
just sit there and watch it.
Oh yeah, that is entertainment, right? Yeah, especially in a super hot day, right? Oh.
Sad how entertaining that is. All right, let's give Michael a call.
Let's do it. Skype dance.
Let's see. Skype dance.
Hey, Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. All we need to have you do when you can is hit the video, and you already did it. It's fabulous. Okay, we're going to give you a proper introduction here since we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, super excited to have this next guest on our show, joining a list of UFC contenders and champions. We are talking about the man they call a lone wolf, UFC featherweight Michael Trizano. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Do you like to go by Mike more or Michael, or does it not matter?
It doesn't matter.
Sounds cool. And did I catch it right with the featherweight division, or are you somewhere else?
Yep, featherweight.
Fantastic. You know, Sherdog, you may have heard of, has a habit of putting the wrong weights for fighters, and I'm wondering if they're either just not staying on top of things enough, or they're trying to mess up other shows using their reference site for reference, because, you know, I think they have you right though, so, but you never know. It's almost hard to trust what they have.
Well, I did. My first couple fights in the UFC, I was at lightweight because I did the Ultimate Fighter at lightweight, but my main weight class is featherweight.
Sounds good. What gym are you fighting out of?
I fight out of Tiger Schulman's MMA.
Excellent. That's back east, and they have so many great fighters there. Is that in New York or New Jersey?
We're in Jersey. It's right in Elmwood Park, New Jersey.
Fantastic. And do you have a fight signed yet, or are you still working on that in the UFC?
Nah, man. In the works. Hoping for October.
Absolutely. And I think you've had a couple UFC fights so far, or just one? No, you've had a few.
I'm 3-1 in the UFC right now.
That's right. I knew that. My mind's been fried, man. It's been one of those days. But I love it, man. So you're looking good, man. And who has been helping you? Who is still over there? A lot of guys stay loyal to Tiger Schulman, and once they're there, they don't leave. I guess occasionally someone leaves, but who's over there that's been helping you, and who's over there that you have respect for and want to shout out on the show?
So my main training partners, I mean, we got a lot of up-and-coming guys, but guys in the UFC, we got Shane Burgos, Julio Arce, Jimmy Rivera, Lyman Good, those, and myself. We're the guys in the UFC right now, but we got a bunch of really good young guys coming up in the regional scene for pros, and a bunch of amateurs as well. So, I mean, we got a super talented room right now, and, you know, nobody's in easy training session. So the room's packed, filled with guys ready to go.
Absolutely. And we've had your teammate Jimmy Rivera on the show, I think 4 or 5 times over the last several years. He's a great guy, and I should have looked and could have mentioned that, but I'm glad we got you on here anyway. Jimmy is an amazing fighter and great skills, and yeah, you're looking really good too, coming off a couple of wins there, and then Ludovic Klein, that was a good win. Luis Pena, man, apparently he's in some sort of weird trouble now, man. The violent Bob Ross. It's unfortunate, but you had a good fight against him. He's a tough dude, huh?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I was going to say, you had a good fight a while back against Luis Pena. He's a tough dude, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's a tough dude. It was a necessary fight because he thought he won the show. He thought he would have won the show if he didn't get hurt, but that wasn't the case.
Right. You proved him wrong there, and now he's in some sort of weird trouble. Let me ask you this, and I know we don't have the perfect sound, but hopefully your driving reception can get a little bit better. But let me ask you this, man. You're a young guy. You're in the career of fighting, and what is it, man, that seems to make it hard for some fighters to avoid having physical confrontations. And I'm not a hater of fighters. I'm a lifelong martial artist, and I know that a very low percentage of fighters get caught up in domestic violence compared to the average guy out there. But it seems like some fighters are getting caught. Do you think it's mostly that some fighters' girlfriends are just trying to like get them in some trouble, and that fighters aren't really to blame? Or do you think something about fighting can make a guy have some trouble in like keeping his shit together as far as domestic violence and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that because we know how to fight, we know how to avoid it.
Right.
And personally, I mean, when I'm training all the time and getting ready for fights, like I barely go out. But if I do, like I'm aware of my surroundings. Like I know when it's time to go. If there's certain things I got to avoid. But I mean, it's fairly easy. Like I train and get punched in the face and like fight people every day, all day. When I go out, I want to have a good time. That's the last thing on my mind is fighting.
It makes sense. Now, you know, I know a lot of guys when you're young can get into beefs with their girlfriends, right? And I would imagine that if a girlfriend wanted to be like really, really low, she could try to start provoking her boyfriend who's a fighter by like smacking him in the face or kicking him or whatever. What do you think? Do you think that is ever happening where a guy's girlfriend is trying to provoke him? And if so, how do you think you would react if your girlfriend just was mad at you and just came over and slapped you in the face?
I mean, that's never happened to me. My wife is the best thing to happen to me, so
nice.
She is the last person to ever do that.
Yeah.
She knows, and she knows that I have a lot to lose.
Right.
And she wants to see me be successful, and she would never put me in that situation.
That's good. That's good because, yeah.
But in my opinion, if it was me and I had gotten smacked in the face or something in public, like I would handle it the right way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't cause a scene in public. You know, that's just the kind of person I am. So that's how I would do it.
It makes sense. It makes sense because I'm not trying to give fighters excuse for, you know, ever laying their hands on their girlfriends, but there's got to be some situation where a guy's girlfriend just like, you know, wants to like provoke him. And
yeah, I mean, I would never hit a woman. So
right.
I mean, that's just me. Obviously, you know, you get the black sheep of every once in a while, just things happen. But I mean, that's not how I was raised, and regardless of what the situation is, you know, I obviously could do a lot more damage than the person hitting me. So
right.
I would never do something like that.
That makes
and honestly, if some girl hit me in the face, I would have to hold my wife back because she would kill somebody.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate that, my friend. So speaking about how you were raised, let's talk about that, man. Let's get a little background of the lone wolf, Michael Trizano. Tell us some of the high points about your, let's say, athletic experience when you were younger, or how soon you were familiar with, you know, MMA fighting, and if you had any people in your family that were involved in any kind of fighting.
Yeah, so I mean, I played sports my whole life. You know, I wasn't like a standout athlete, like I wasn't like the best and all this kind of stuff. I was just middle of the road. I just enjoyed playing all types of sports. I played football the longest, and I really started getting into MMA when I was in high school, like my sophomore, junior year of high school, and I really took to it. I mean, I just loved like the challenge and having to push myself, and I just got hooked. Training full time, and here I am now. I mean, I had a great childhood, raised by two great parents, got a younger brother who we fought a lot, but we love each other. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. No sob story with me.
Very cool, very cool. Were there any fighters that you looked up to or that you were fans of before you got into the sport?
Yeah, GSP was my idol. I looked up to how he carried himself. I loved his style, how he was so well-rounded, and just he was the epitome of a martial artist, and that's who I wanted to aspire to be. I want to be a good role model. I don't want to be just one of those guys just causing scenes and doing all this stuff. Like, I'm not a shit talker. You know, I think that's a skill that you either have or you don't.
Right.
I'm not quick to think on like comebacks and stuff. Like, if I ever got into an argument, I'm the kind of person who, like, I'm showering like 3 hours later and I'm like, oh, I should have said that.
Right. Yep. I can relate. Yeah. I can relate, because I was always a good talker, but not a good shit talker. Once in a while, I'd come up against someone really good with the cut downs. And yeah, man, like you said, I'd be showering, whatever. Oh, hours later saying, damn, man, I should have said such and such. But yeah, exactly. No, I like GSP a lot, man. He was a gentleman. He was a true martial artist and fought really, really hard. Not only that, but in the fight that he had against Johnny Hendricks, the one that everyone's all screaming this and that and whatever, that was a damn close fight. And I'll tell you what, I'm not trying to like paint myself to know more than the next guy, but I'm a little bit of an older guy. I've been watching fights and actually keeping score of fights since boxing when I was a kid, and that's like a few decades I've been doing that. And in that fight, man, that was just really close. And I'll tell you what, you want to know something funny? After that fight, when GSP got the decision and Johnny Hendricks came in there complaining and being really negative and not being gracious about it, it kind of seems like he bit off some bad karma, because his career was never the same. It's like before that, everyone was cheering for him. He was like this super chill dude who was positive. He was almost like a GSP type of a guy. And then after that fight, when he's like, no way, I didn't lose, man. Look at his face. Look at this. What the hell? This is bullshit. It's like everything went downhill. It was really weird, man. And it's like they say karma's a bitch sometimes. You know, you got to try to come with the right attitude. And, although he was a great fighter, it is what it is, and that was before USADA days. But yeah, GSP was such a great fighter. If GSP is about 41 now, I think, or close, is it too late, do you think, for him to fight Khabib if they made that matchup because of his age? Or do you think he could still hang and bang with Khabib? And then the second part of that question is, if it was 5 years ago and he was younger, like 35, what if he went up against Khabib?
Right now, I just think it's like a weight discrepancy.
Yeah.
Because GSP is a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And the fight, like, Khabib would want to fight at 55. I don't think he would want to do it at any other weight. I think he's set on that. For GSP to make 55, he'd definitely have to kill himself.
Right, and at his age now, especially.
And he's 40, and he's older, and it's a lot harder to cut weight when you're older. I mean, I don't think it would ever happen.
Yeah.
They're both financially comfortable. Like, they don't really need to do it for money.
Right.
So it would be purely for the fans.
Right.
But I don't think it'll ever happen.
No.
5 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe.
Right.
I mean, I think it would be a great fight, but I also think that Khabib earlier in his career didn't have that great a stand-up that he did right before he retired. Like, I think he was the best he's ever looked.
Yeah.
And GSP's a little bit more well-rounded, but obviously Khabib, I definitely think, has a better edge on the ground. But again, you never know. I mean, GSP was one of those guys that he just took whoever he was fighting, he did what they were best at better. So
yep,
it'd definitely be interesting.
Without a doubt. It's interesting to see GSP nowadays with hair. He looks really different. They made a statue of him in Canada, and now they're pointing out the statue looks kind of like Barack Obama. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I did see the statue. It kind of looks a little strange.
Yeah, it's like they should have him and Barack both there holding their hands up celebrating this statue. You could call it the St. Pierre Obama statue, with all respect, because, obviously Barack having respect as being a two-term president and GSP. But GSP is such a cool dude. Yeah, he's one of my favorite ones was back when he was fighting. They asked him about his diet and if he ever goes out and snacks, and he says, well, I will go to McDonald's once in a while. And and I was just, can you picture him like walking into a McDonald's, especially into his prime, right? They would have gone crazy, you know. And let me ask you about that. Obviously, if you fought at 55 before, you're fighting at 45. You can't be eating too crazy. But what can a young guy like you, who's in great shape with a good metabolism, if you don't have a fight scheduled, obviously you're not going to go and eat like McDonald's meals all day, every day. But if you wanted to just say, if you were really hungry and said, you know what, man, screw it, I'm going to go get, you know, 2 Big Macs, 2 large fries, you know, some big salad, a huge Coke. Can you do that and not really screw you up? Or do you ever do that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll enjoy myself every once in a while. I'm not going to like not live my life, you know, but when I'm in fight camp, it's strict to a T. I don't skip a beat. But when I'm not training for a fight, I mean, I still train every single day. So for me to go off my diet doesn't really affect me too much. I've always been super skinny and crazy fast metabolism my whole life, so I've never had that as an issue. But I mean, I grew up as an Italian family, so I love to have a lot of pasta.
Yeah.
That's really my kryptonite.
That's right. Oh, absolutely. That's right. Do you ever have a fight fall on a holiday and like you have your mom or your aunt or people want to make a big Italian dinner, and what have you done? You just can't eat it, right?
It's happened too many times.
I hear you.
I mean, I fought like early in the year where I couldn't enjoy like Christmas and that kind of stuff, and same thing. Like there was a few years in a row where I wasn't able to eat on Thanksgiving. So, I mean, I've done it. You know, it's the sacrifice I got to make and for the career I have, and it is what it is. I have the rest of my life to eat some pasta, so sacrificing it there is not that big a deal.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. So it shows you being from New Jersey. Is that just where Tiger Schulman is, or are you from Jersey?
No, I was born in New York City, and I've lived in Jersey like my whole life.
Nice. And where would be your favorite place to fight if you could? Probably Madison Square Garden?
That's definitely like on my list of places I want to fight, but the way the city is right now and how much New York taxes me after I fight, like I don't even want to fight there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Would definitely fight at Prudential Center. So hopefully they go back to the Rock, because I'll definitely fight there. I can get a ton of people there to watch me fight.
Very cool. I actually was in the press section at a fight at Boston Gardens a few years ago. That's a lot smaller than I was thinking. Have you ever been there?
Yeah, what fight? TD Garden in Boston?
TD, that's it. TD Gardens, yeah.
Yeah, no, I went there once to watch McGregor fight Dennis Siever when he was coming up. That was a crazy time because like there's tons of Irish there, so the place was erupting.
Yeah, that's right. It seems, because I remember, it seems like New York has like, does New York still have neighborhoods where you have like Irish neighborhood here, and Italian neighborhood there, and Jewish neighborhood here or something?
Yeah. Well, I feel like all the cities kind of have something like that.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I guess so. Though New York is always the one, like, you know, remember that movie Gangs of New York? How realistic is that anymore?
I mean, not like that.
No, that's cool. Hey, do you have any brothers or cousins that are big fans of yours, or that fight themselves?
No one that fights. I'm the only one that really fights in my family. But I mean, I've had some of my family train. My wife trains. She's been training for the last 7 years, just to like work out and stuff. But every time I fight, like I usually have like around 50 people coming, no matter where it is, because they love supporting me and having a good time.
That's awesome.
Like last time I fought in Vegas, not this past one, but for the Ultimate Fighter, I mean, there had to have been over 100 people there for me. Cool. I mean, my cousin spent almost like 30 grand at a pool party. So
nice.
They were going crazy.
That's awesome. Do you have any do you have any brothers or male cousins who think a little bit that even though they're not a professional fighter, since they're blood relatives of yours, they probably could do pretty good or maybe beat you? Yeah,
man. The Trizano family were warriors. I mean, I got one of my cousins is an Army Ranger. I've had a lot of family in the military. We're fighters, man.
Nice. So even though they're not, trained in MMA, there's some, some tough guys that probably could do pretty good having almost the exact same genetics as you.
Absolutely, man.
Right on. Do you plan on having a family or having any kids, or do you have any now?
Yeah, I mean, eventually. I just got married in July, so see what happens.
Congratulations. Congratulations. And if you had kids, would you be okay with them being fighters, or would you discourage it?
Oh yeah, whatever they want to do, I'd support them 100%. I'm gonna have them train regardless because I think it's just an important life skill to have in general. But yeah, I mean, if whatever they want to pursue, they're gonna grow up with it. So hopefully I don't burn them out. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if they want to fight, I'm 100% behind them. If they don't,
absolutely makes sense. Either way, whatever they want to do, I respect that. Sorry for stepping on your words.
No, you're good.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to get your opinions, if it's okay, on this coming weekend's fights. But real quick, before I do, Ultimate Fighter that you were on, anything you could share that they didn't show? I'm not asking for you to share something that's going to make someone look bad or something, crazy, nasty, whatever. But anything that's interesting that you could share that happened when you were on, whether it was to you or not, that might be interesting to know, or any experiences that you thought were really good, or friends that you made on the show?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I would have some pretty intense ping pong matches with Jay Cuccinello. We must have had like 30 or 40 ping pong matches, and like it would get heated.
Nice.
We were very competitive. They were filming it, but I don't think they ever really showed it.
Right.
But it would get pretty intense.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I cooked a lot for the guys in the house, so like I would make, like, some of the guys would ask me to make like lasagna or this or that, and I would cook for them like after they fought. So I would make them a meal or something like that.
Cool.
But other than that, I mean, nothing really that they didn't show that they should have.
Makes sense. Any friends that you made or any enemies that you made?
No enemies, man. I was pretty cool with everybody. I have to say, out of like all the seasons of the Ultimate Fighter, like I think ours had like one of the least bit of drama. There was drama here and there. I mean, it's a bunch of guys in a house for 6 weeks. Tempers are gonna flare, but for the most part, everybody was very professional. And I mean, we all knew we were gonna fight each other at some point. Like, what's the point in getting heated and wasting all that energy?
Yep.
So we were all very, very cool with each other.
Very cool. What season was that, and what year was that?
We were season 27. So we filmed in 2018, I believe.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah.
What do you think of it coming back now with Alex Volkanovski against Brian Ortega?
I mean, I think it's a great thing that they brought it back. It's a huge opportunity to get your foot in the door in the UFC, and I think it gets your name out there a little bit more than the Contender, because the Contender is like one and that's it.
Right.
Whereas Ultimate Fighter is like several weeks of your name getting out there. I think I think it's a little tougher too. I mean, again, Contender, it's one fight. Yeah, they're in or you're not. Whereas the show, like, it's mentally grueling. Like, you're away from your family, friends, everybody. You have no phone, no connection to the outside world for 6 weeks. Like, it's tough. It's tough, and not everybody can do it. So I think it's a huge opportunity, and I'm glad they brought it back.
Yeah, me too, without a doubt. That should be a really good fight. Any predictions in advance of that fight, Volkanovski against Ortega?
I think Volkanovski wins. I mean, Ortega definitely could finish the fight at any point. I just think Volkanovski's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be a finish. I think it just goes to unanimous decision.
Yeah, I think so too. Let me get your opinion on this weekend's fights. First of all, let me ask you, are you a guy that watches all the UFC cards you can from start to finish? Do you not care about that and hardly watch any of them? Do you tend to watch only the main cards? What kind of a UFC MMA fan are you?
I mean, I'm a fan of it, but if like the Yankees are playing and UFC's on, I'll watch the Yankees.
Right, makes sense. Your home team.
Same thing with like football. Like, I'm a big baseball and football fan, so if that's on, I'll watch that over UFC. But I mean, I try and catch every card. Sometimes I'm not able to. Like, I don't stress about it. I'm not like arranging my life around it.
Right.
So
that makes sense. Let me ask you about some fighters. If you're not familiar with them, let me know and we'll move on. All right. Brian Kelleher against Domingo Pilarte. Any familiarity with them? Any prediction?
I don't know Kelleher's opponent, but Kelleher's from my area, so I'm familiar with Kelleher. He's fought some of my teammates before. I mean, I think Kelleher wins just because I don't know who the other guy is.
Understood. No, I like Brian Kelleher too. I think he wins as well. He's a slight favorite. How about Austin Hubbard and Vince Pichel, the guy whose name is spelled Vinc? Looks like Vink.
Yeah, I think Vince Pichel wins. Guy's got dynamite in his hands. I think he can finish the fight.
Yeah, I think so too. I've had him on. He's a unique dude, man. He dropped more F-bombs on this show than any other fighter, and we've been on 4.5 years. But it was all in fun. He was just a funny, like, real dude. And then he was like pointing out different guys that he hates. And I finally said, "You're not trying to say you really hate these people." Well, not hate them, So I was trying to help him out. But he's a cool dude, man. He's real. All right. How about Alexander Pantoja and Brandon Royval?
I think Royval wins. I trained with him out in Colorado when I fought out there, and cool dude. He definitely has an unorthodox style and a crazy pace. So I think he wins that one. I think he finishes him.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking about it. We've had Brandon on the show here. He's coming off that fight against Brandon Moreno where he lost because of injury. Moreno now we know is the best in the world at flyweight, and I think Brandon's going to come back and make a statement against Pantoja, although Pantoja is a tough guy. Let me see. We got you for about 3 more minutes, so let me get real, like 30-second or less answers on this one. The big men, Chase Sherman and Parker Porter. You know those guys?
Familiar with Sherman. Not too familiar with Porter. I'll have to go with Sherman.
Gotcha. I think so too. We've had Chase on the show. He's a big, tough dude. Parker is kind of a shorter heavyweight who's kind of chubby, but he's got some skills. He's kind of unpredictable. But yeah, he's like 36 years old. Not that that means you're done, but I think Chase is taller by 4 inches, more athletic guy, 5 years younger. So I think him. Here's one that we were just talking about. Maybe if you want to give me 30 or 45 seconds on this. Clay Guida, 39 years old. He was down at featherweight for many years. He's back up at lightweight now. He's a small lightweight. He's all respect to him. He's an old lightweight with a lot of miles on him. They're putting him up against the gold medalist in Greco-Roman from Denmark, Mark O. Madsen, the Olympian they call him. And they have Madsen as like barely a favorite, like 1.5 to 1. To me, I don't see Chase Sherman. I don't see Clay Guida having any chance here. I think this is like a setup fight for Mark Madsen to win 20, 30, 27 on all judges' cards. I don't know. What do you see? Am I wrong, do you think?
I mean, even though Guida's got miles on him, I still think he's durable as hell, and he's going to bring the fight. So, yeah, maybe they're kind of setting this guy up, Madsen, to win, but you can never count Guida out. Yeah. That dude always brings a crazy pace. So let's see if Madsen can keep the pace with him. Can he win? Yes, absolutely. Does he have better wrestling? Probably. Yeah. But again, this is a big opportunity for Madsen, and this is also an opportunity for Guida to say, look, I ain't done yet.
Yeah, without a doubt, and big respect for Guida. He's at 39. He's in better shape than most guys, 29, and probably a lot of guys 19, so.
Yeah, I mean, I got Guida in this one. I like him. I love watching him fight. Yeah. And I love the energy.
Yeah. He's amazing, the Carpenter from Chicago. He's also another Italian guy like yourself, probably. So I don't know if that has any factor to it, but I hope he does well. Mark, though, is a very nice guy from Denmark. Denmark have a lot of cool people, and I think he should win. But we'll see. Clay, I hope he does well. Main event, man, this is interesting. Kelvin Gastelum, a slight dog to Jared Cannonier. Both of them coming off losses to Robert Whittaker, who's looking like he's just getting better all the time. It was 10 months ago that Whittaker just, seemed to just confuse Cannonier and pick him apart and hurt him several times and win a decision. And then it was only 4 months ago that he just looked way faster and way crisper and bigger than Kelvin Gastelum and pieced him up to a decision win. But with them going against each other, what do you think? Cannonier is a slight favorite, about 1.5 to 1, minus 160, minus 150 against Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah, I got Gastelum in this one. I just think he's going to put more together.
Mm-hmm.
Not counting Cannonier out. I mean, Cannonier's very strong. He could put the lights out at any time, but I think that Gastelum's going to show a little bit more experience in this one, and I think he takes it.
Gotcha. And do you think the fact that Gastelum fought 4 months ago last and Cannonier 10 months ago favors one or the other? Because I was thinking that would maybe more favor Cannonier, because Gastelum technically could be still kind of feeling some soreness from 4 months ago, or is 4 months plenty of time to be completely healed from even being pieced up like he was?
Nah, I think he had time to heal. I don't think the time span really is going to affect anybody. I mean, if they're real martial artists, they never stopped training. Maybe took a few weeks off to heal and recover, and then they were right back at it. So
right,
I think that's going to really play in this matchup.
Makes sense. Plus, I think most fighters would like to fight 3 times a year, so that would mean they'd have to kind of be ready every 4 months, wouldn't they?
Yeah, for sure.
Makes sense. Okay, really appreciate it, man. Hey, let us know the best place to follow you and support you on social media.
Yeah, hell yeah. Follow me at the Lone Wolf MMA, Instagram and Twitter, and Mike the Lone Wolf Trizano on Facebook, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, Mike Lone Wolf Trizano, I appreciate you. You're a good East Coast guy. I'm from Michigan. We're kind of in between East and Midwest, so, you know, a little bit more East. So I always appreciate my brothers in the East Coast. You're an honest guy. You're a classy guy with respect, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk to us here in the MMA Power Hour. Let us know when you got a fight sign, man. We'll be happy to have you come back on and promote it.
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely. Thanks again. Hopefully, beginning of October. Just waiting to hear.
Awesome, man. Love to see it and can't wait to see that happen. You have a great night, brother. Thanks for coming on.
You too, man. Take it easy.
You too. See you. And that was the Lone Wolf, Michael Trizano, or Mike Trizano. Like that guy. Like
yeah, a real chill guy, man.
He is like a chill East Coast dude. You can tell he's got that intensity. He can knock some people out. And
yeah, he's just got that real. He reminds me of all the good old boys that I know back from the Midwest.
He's a good East Coast, tough, chill, mellow, strong guy. You know, that I'm sure has a ton of friends. Like he said, he's always got 50 people or 100 people that wherever he goes to fight, and it makes sense because he seems like he's a good friend of people.
So Colin, it's been an amazing episode here. Thank you so much. We had a great conversation there in the middle. For those of you who have never tuned in before, thank you so much. Also, make sure to head on over to a different platform, which I'm going to go ahead and throw those out real quick. It's Fight TV. If that's where you're at, go on over to the Hannibal TV on Twitch and Facebook. And if you're on either of those locations or an MMA Power Hour source, make sure to hit up the Hannibal TV, where I just said, or go on over to Fight TV. It's FITE.TV in the search bar. You'll have to put in MMA Power Hour, but we do have a channel there. We go live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. That is 9 p.m. Eastern, and it's a 2-hour show. We love you guys so much. Colin, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you and everybody out there. I'm tapping out.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam Roorda, Dr. Adam Roorda, for everything you do. It's amazing. Really appreciate working with you. Also wanted to thank Angel or Angel Pacheco for that big thumbs up emoji. We really appreciate you and everyone that joins, people that are lurking. I know we have a ton of people that jump in and say something. That's great too. We'd love to hear from you. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. If it weren't for your show, if it weren't for you, we wouldn't have a show. So we appreciate your love and support. Go out and spread the love in a positive way. Be that guy, be that girl. Take care of your friends, family, and even your pets. Make sure they have cold water and a cool place during this hot summer. They really need it. So big love and respect to you for the entire team at the MMA Power Hour. I'm Colin Crandall, and for tonight, I am tapping out.